If you are here, you have taken an active role in bettering your life, no matter what stage of life you are in. The Banyan Treatment Center's podcast will discuss many topics like recovery, addiction, self-help, mental health, and so much more. It will provide you with tools to succeed, ideas for recovering, and how-tos on creating a better life. My name is Alyssa, and today's episode is about the benefits of exercise in early recovery. Today on our panel, we have Jeremy Plummer. Jeremy is the Recovery Services Coordinator and CPT of FTX Wellness Gym for recovering addicts, founder of Recovery Through Repetition, and a recovering addict with 6 years sober. Thank you so much for joining us, Jeremy. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, my name's Jeremy Plummer. I'm the founder of Recovery Through Repetition. I'm just really excited to share about this topic.
You're very welcome. Excited to hop into this topic. Getting sober and staying sober are two very different things. Some would say they're equally as difficult, but staying sober is an ongoing battle that must be overcome every day. The good news is there are ways to help with staying sober, exercise being one of them that's a particularly favorable option. Especially in the new year, it is important to employ new healthy habits to replace old unhealthy ones. Recent studies have found that committing to a weekly exercise routine resulted in decreased substance use and even complete abstinence for some participants. Why is this? Well, for one, exercise curbs cravings, creates structure and routine in your life, fills up your time and thoughts, relieves stress, among many other benefits. Today, we are speaking with a professional on the matter who has dedicated his life to helping others, whether that be from exercise or other healthy habits. So, Jeremy, why don't we start off with you telling us a little bit about your personal experience seeking recovery?
Yeah, so as mentioned before, I just recently celebrated 6 years
Congratulations.
sober, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, proud of that. But this was not my first attempt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 35 now. Like, I didn't get sober till I was 29, and there was a lot of years prior to that of just floundering and trying different things, whether it be trying to cut one thing out and not do something, but ultimately all led me back to the same stuff and being hopeless and depressed. So
yeah. And you went to treatment to get help, or were you able to stop on your own?
No, I went to treatment 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah, this last time kind of, I had been beaten down pretty bad, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and just finally started to take some suggestions and kind of just like threw in the white flag and surrendered, and it was the best thing I ever did.
Isn't it so crazy? The suggestions are so simple and we fight them for so long. Mm-hmm. And then finally you give in and you have a life beyond your wildest dreams.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, all the different treatments and meetings and things I went to, I never, when I finally got it this last time, I never heard anything different. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, as a result of maybe what I had been through leading up, the way that I heard it was different. And it kind of resonated with me, and I was able to, kind of take it and run with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've heard it many, many times before. It's so true. They repeat the same things over and over to you, and it's like you never know that one day, that one emotional state that you're in, that it's finally going to click.
Yeah, and I think it's like just I was so used to trying to do things on my own, even though I wasn't good at it. I wasn't good at it, but I just always wanted to be independent and not ask for help. And like everything I needed was on the other side of just asking for help and letting people love on me and bring me back.
Yeah, and you've done such a good job about, turning your mess into a message and becoming such an advocate for other people. Like, so many people look up to you in the recovery community because of the work that you give back and the things that you do for others. And, just from what I've seen, I appreciate you, and I think you know that. I always try to give you props and support you in any way that I can because I support the message that you're always providing to people. But what about exercise? Has that always been a part of your lifestyle? Were you already a certified trainer before you got sober and moved down here?
No, I wasn't a certified trainer, but it's always been a part of my life. I was like a varsity athlete in high school and, in all my younger years. And then even through my struggles with addiction, it was kind of something that, up until it got really bad and I physically wasn't able to do much, I would still play basketball and try to get workouts in. So it's always been, part of my life at some capacity for sure, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a perfect fit for you then because you were a natural athlete and you had that experience.
Yeah, and I think, part of one of the beautiful parts of getting sober is it just kind of rid myself of all those limiting beliefs. So like, I always wanted to be involved in sports or exercise at some capacity. And when I finally, got all the obstacles out of my way of being a drug addict, like I was able to, pursue that. And and there was people that helped me along the way. And, I'm sure we can kind of dive into that at some point.
Yeah. Do you feel like exercise helped you in early recovery?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's hard to forget how crazy the rat race in your head can be early on, and just how uncomfortable like every moment of every day is. And for me, the Florida sun helped a lot, but what helped even more than that was exercise. Like that 1 hour or 2 hours that I would get at the gym when I was living at sober living was like the only 2 hours of peace I really had, for whatever reason, all the voices and just different things going on in my head would stop, and I could just focus on the present moment, and it was just huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get a little technical. So what are some of the benefits of exercise?
Oh man, such a long list. But, I think some of the obvious ones, especially as it relates to recovery, are just a pretty immediate change in mood. For myself, I would, be, depressed or sad or just feeling off prior to the gym. And, within 15 minutes of being there, and significant boost in mood. People like us tend to suffer with like body image and stuff. So obviously the weight loss piece or the muscle gain or whatever it is that you're looking for is an important piece.
Right, it makes you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, and then obviously like strengthening the bones, and the benefits of exercise is not just for people in recovery, just for all humans.
Yeah,
is so important. Especially as we start to get older and different things, like continuing to move your body and all that stuff is just so good.
It's so true. And when you say like the energy booster, once you've been there, it is such a clear fact that the hardest part about going to the gym is actually getting yourself there.
100%.
Because 1,000 times over, I will fight it tooth and nail. I get there, I exercise, and like I want to be a fitness model afterwards, But getting there is the hardest part for sure. But it's like immediately your energy changes.
Yeah, and as it relates to recovery, I think that's true for a lot of the stuff that we have to do early on that helps us sustain long-term recovery, whether it be calling our sponsor. There's countless times I didn't want to do that and have that conversation, or doing step work. I never wanted to do that, but I always felt better after doing that. Going to meetings, never wanted to go. Always felt better after going to the meeting. So there's a lot of alignments regarding, that not wanting to do stuff and doing it anyways, and that how it carries over into benefiting long-term recovery.
Yeah, the similarities and the unwillingness.
Yeah.
So talk to me about recovery through repetition for those who don't know what it is.
Gladly. Started off as kind of just like a vision I had, and I'm never really willing to speak about recovery through repetition without mentioning temperance training, which is another nonprofit in our South Florida area that is more on the CrossFit side of things. But what I saw with them that I just thought was so beautiful was the community piece, and how it just drew people in, and once people get into a community of like-minded people, like what can happen as a result of that. So. Shortly after I started working at FTX, I was just working at the front desk at the time when I didn't have clients, and I had this slot open on Friday nights from 7 to 8. And I started using it to work out myself, and then just slowly but surely I started inviting people just like one by one to come work out, and it just compounded like pretty quickly. It was pretty awesome.
It is so awesome, and I've been to plenty of the workouts before, as you know, and the community is just overwhelming. And so... correct me if I'm wrong, especially for recovery through repetition for people in early recovery, it is a donation-based workout. So for those people in early recovery that don't have the funds to work out at a nice gym and work out with a good trainer, they can come for free.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
We wanted to make it as inclusive as possible, and that's why we ended up adding more classes and trying to do more things to try to bring as many people into the community as possible so they can benefit from having a strong community and like-minded people around them to help them flourish.
How many classes do you guys now have a week for recovery through repetition?
3.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yoga on Mondays, fitness on Fridays, fitness on Saturdays.
Awesome. And I know you guys do a lot of like celebratory things together, right?
Yeah, because, as much as like people like you and I love to exercise and do all the things, there's obviously another large demographic of people that maybe are intimidated by even the thought of doing that, as we had mentioned before. And so we do just community events to try to just, again, bring people in, show them that they can have a good time in recovery, just give back to our community that, supports us so much, and, just really try to shine a positive light on just all things recovery, because, it doesn't always have that positive image to it.
Yeah. Well, it's the perfect area for this type of program, that's for sure. So aside from the free workouts, is there anything else that you give out through Recovery Through Repetition?
Yeah. My favorite part of the whole thing. So like you had mentioned, the classes are donation-based, and then we have people that are kind enough to donate, private families and different things like that, and we use those funds to pay for individuals with a year or more sober to become certified personal trainers or yoga instructors, and we're still trying to iron out some details to help them become like an esthetician or a beautician, because the people at Riot Hair Lounge are fantastic, and they've always been supportive and want to be involved as much as they can. So
yes, the girls at Riot are amazing.
Yes.
I get my hair done there.
Yeah, they're great.
What are some other tips that you can suggest to someone to help them stay sober aside from exercise, just as a man in recovery?
Obviously, like the fundamental stuff is like getting a sponsor, attending meetings. Even if it's not exercise, finding a hobby and something that kind of fans your flame is really important, because
I love that saying. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, obviously mine's exercise and sports and different things like that, but all that does for me is just gives me more purpose, allows me to pursue something I'm passionate about, usually gets me around people that allows me to engage in, like, human connection's a big thing for me, because when I was out there using, I didn't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of addiction likes us to be isolated and not have the positive energy of other people around us. So I would encourage someone to find something that they enjoy doing, and hopefully it involves other people.
So aside from being a personal trainer, which obviously people can reach out to if they need to be trained, and Recovery Through Repetition, is there anything else that you're working on or anything else that you're doing?
Yeah, I've been so fortunate to do a lot of cool stuff. I work for a treatment center a little bit outside of our area that allows me to serve that community. I work with Next Level Recovery Associates doing, my favorite part of it is adolescent mentorship and some of the sober escorting, so helping them get from point A to point B if the family's fearful that they may not make it. I'm actually going to Colombia tomorrow to do that, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So that's the opportunities that being sober and trying to be active in my recovery has been pretty cool.
Isn't it pretty amazing? We can go from having absolutely nothing and think that we're not worth anything to having an amazing life and helping people. And it's like the base of your careers in general is recovery. Yeah. So it's like without the struggles that you went through, you wouldn't be the person you are today and have the opportunities that you have today.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and I think it's important for people to know that. I mean, I'm not unique in any sense of the term. I'm just like a regular dude from Indiana, and for whatever reason, I've kind of, I guess, chosen to recover out loud, which, it can go either way.
Yeah, not a lot of people prefer it. But.
Yeah, and that's it. I'm not. There's obviously certain reasons behind that, but I think that the benefits of doing so in an articulate manner can really help people. Yeah. Someone that does that I look up to, one of my best friends, Jared Gordon, who fights in the UFC, he utilizes his platform to try to help other people. And, for people who struggle like I once struggled, for me, I feel like a responsibility to try to help at some capacity. So, I'm not going to keep this beautiful life that I have as a result of being in recovery to myself. People need to know that it's not like a punishment. I haven't been condemned to some boring life that I'm not enjoying. If I wasn't enjoying my life, I wouldn't stay sober.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they need to know that you can have fun and, anything's possible, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I agree with that wholeheartedly, because I also recover out loud, I'm not as loud as you, but I think it's really important, especially the way that technology has changed our society and how readily available bad information is to people. I think and bad influences are to people that could potentially be struggling. I think it's important to have good representatives of the right way of living and the right way to get help.
And I just think the times have changed in a sense. I I don't know too many people who haven't been affected in some way, shape, or form, whether it be a best friend or a family member or combination of any of that. So, workplaces are a little bit more friendly to the idea of it. And, obviously mental health is becoming a very, very openly discussed topic. So
yes, thank goodness.
I just think that the old ideas of why people might hide that stuff are kind of coming to an end, and it's time for people to kind of, just at the end of the day, I'm just trying to help. It's not really to praise myself. As proud as I am of all the different things that have occurred, it's not really about that. It's about just showing people that what's possible as a result of getting sober.
Destigmatize and make them realize they're not alone.
Yep.
How is life like with your family these days?
Good. The ism runs in my family. All the relationships that were starting to be damaged have been restored. Yeah. We struggle in a lot of ways, and finally I can show up for them when they need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which is cool.
It is awesome. Yeah. It's an awesome thing to have your life back and have people be proud of you and, be able to help them when they're in need as well.
Absolutely.
Because that's such a big thing. We're so helpless for so long, and it's like, I can help you.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is pretty awesome. Is there any other advice or tips you have for someone who's maybe having a hard time maintaining a routine or trying to get sober? Yeah,
for the routine stuff, I just like for people to start really small. For myself, even still sometimes, I want to achieve a goal, and I focus on, the end result and, how I can get there the fastest. And oftentimes it gets overwhelming, very, very hard to structure that way, and I end up falling short. So my best advice would just be to start very small. If you want to run a mile, maybe just start walking a half a mile, and then walk 3/4 of a mile, walk a full mile, and then maybe start to jog a quarter mile. Just take it very, very small, break it down, and before you know it, you'll be doing exactly what you thought you wanted to do.
Awesome. So last question, since we're so close to the new year, why do you think it's so important to develop new healthy habits like exercise in the new year? Are you a proponent for people making this their New Year's resolution? Because we know gym memberships go up by 50% at this time of year, if not more.
Yeah, I'm always going to encourage people to try to adopt new healthy habits. I think it's great. I think a lot of the reason people fail, kind of going back to that last question, is trying to do too much too fast.
Yeah.
Coupled with, and something that I'm happy about the gym that I work at, is that the gym environments can be pretty intimidating. Especially down here by us, there's so many people that are wildly attractive and crazy good shape, and maybe not always the nicest. So try to find a place that you feel comfortable, that's conveniently located to your home, and really try to minimize the obstacles of you getting where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And at the end of the day, nobody actually cares. So just show up, do the work, and you'll be fine.
No, I love that, and it's so true too. It's like trying to fit a square into a whole peg. If it doesn't work for you, if it's not the right environment for you, then don't work out there. But you should feel comfortable. You should feel welcomed. Or you should feel like nobody's hassling you while you're at the gym. So if you have to change it up, you change it up. But don't give up.
Yeah, there's, especially down by us, we're so fortunate. There's so many different gyms that offer a ton of different modalities and different styles. So there's really no excuse, Everything's available to us down here, especially. But really anywhere nowadays. Fitness is becoming so prevalent everywhere. It's just do it.
So, Jeremy, if someone wants more information about recovery through repetition, where should they go?
Yeah, we have an awesome website. It is www.wearertr.org. And we operate Recovery Through Repetition out of FTX Wellness, and their website is www.ftxwellness.com. Just do it.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No, just grateful for the opportunity as always, and I'm very, very happy for you and your husband in the new edition. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Yes. I don't know if I've said it officially on the podcast yet. No, it's okay.
Oops.
I am pregnant. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Jeremy. I really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure talking to you and seeing you. So.
You as well. Thank you for all your support over the years.
Of course. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Remember that growth and recovery are possible, and it can all start today. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Banyan Treatment Centers, and make sure you're subscribing for notifications of new episodes. And please don't forget to leave us a review. If you or someone you know are struggling, call us today at 888-515-7706. Thanks for joining us today on the Banyan Podcast.